Hi, it's Gluck with an angled multi-grip. You'll be saying wow every time you use this bar. It's a curl bar, it's an overhead press, it's a bench bar, even work your triceps. This lasts 10 years, this power bar lasts, I don't know, a week, it sells itself. But if you call now within the next 20 minutes, because we can't be doing this all day, we'll give you a second sticker absolutely free. You can call it a football bar, a multi-grip, a Swiss bar, an American bar. It's not important. It's not about what you call it. It's about how you handle it. Now, when looking at this Titan angled multi-grip bar, it's impressive how much it looks like a very close competitor's. I can't believe Rogue keeps stealing Titan's ideas like this. Now, that's a joke, by the way. Nobody take that seriously. Titan is basically Rogue's Hugo Simpson. Like seemingly every piece of equipment nowadays, every company seems to make a multi-grip bar, or multiple versions of this type of bar. So while I'm reviewing this bar, I will do kind of a comparison and rank it versus other bars that are similar to this. And as always, I will give you my pick for a budget bar, my top pick, and an alternative pick as well. To keep this video under 3 hours, I'm just gonna review straight multi-grip bars rather than cambered bars like my arch nemesis bar from Bells of Steel. Now this is version 2 of this bar because there were some complaints about the original, and unlike me, who just blames the girl, Titan made some changes. First of which is this sick vinyl sticker, which replaces version 1's laser etched logo. Now some people say that's because metal shavings or stuff was getting in there, rattling around. And maybe that's true, but mine still has weld slag or something in it, and it rattles a little bit anyway. And they also adjusted the sleeve diameter as well. Now I should note that Titan sells several variations of these things, different sizes and handles based on your preferences. This one runs about $150 and has 4 sets of angled handles. Now they also make the Titan multi-grip barbell version 2, which has 3 sets of handles, 2 straight and 1 angled. It's about $160 and again is very similar to Rogue's version. And of course, there's the Titan Swiss bar. Now the list doesn't technically end there. There's also the cambered bar, but remember again, in this video, we're gonna keep it straight, which is pretty rare for me. Now that one only has 1 set of handles set at 25 degrees, and it's actually the cheapest option, but I tend to like the versatility of the multi-grip bars. So why a multi-grip bar? Well, honestly, sometimes you just get bored of gripping your shaft in the same way. Did you really think I was above making a joke that easy? Come on, I like it easy. If you have a straight barbell, sometimes it restricts your movement as you're going through the range of motion, which gives us a lot of pain and stress in our joints. So by having a neutral grip or angled grips, that can relieve stress in your shoulders, elbows, wrists, whatever. Or if you're one of those people who has issues with their positioning or the mechanics of their pressing movements, like you have elbow flare, for example, it can be really helpful. And even Winnie, when she tries to do skull crushers without using dumbbells, unless she has a truly neutral grip, she'll get pain in her elbows. But the angled grip of this bar allows her to use this barbell. You can also use it to emphasize the triceps since it alters the positioning of your arms in pressing movements, or just to add variety to your training. I, like most people, basically use it to keep stress off my shoulders so I can keep the volume of my pressing movements up without hurting myself. But there's a lot of uses for this thing and a lot of variations of exercises you can do with it. And unlike dumbbells, which do allow you to rotate into a more comfortable position, you can still overload with this bar. So now let's cover the specs. There's 4 pairs of grips, as if you couldn't count, and there's a little bit more than 2.5 inches of space between each grip, which is plenty of space to get your hands in there. And the bar itself is 82.25 inches long. It has a loadable sleeve length of 14 inches, and it's a welded pipe construction, which means this whole thing is one solid piece. This pipe is welded on here, so there's no rotating sleeves. A really important note about this bar, or probably a lot of these bars in general, but this one specifically, it is 40.25 inches in this square framing. So if you have a rack that doesn't have a lot of interior width, like a Rep PR4000 or 5000, that would be 41 inches right here, or a Fitness Reality 810, or even some Titan racks, it's not gonna fit very well. It's gonna be very tight, very tough, a little bit uncomfortable to get in there. And let me tell you, that doesn't always feel so good. So keep that in mind when ordering. Now they do have a 50mm sleeve, which means normal collars should fit on it, which doesn't sound like much, but a lot of these specialty bars need specialty
collars. And it features knurled handles, which is important to note because not all Swiss bars have knurled handles. I would call this knurling passive or average at best. And the diameter of the handles is 32 millimeters, which is thicker than a power bar. Now, when it comes to the build quality, I always say it's Titan, and it's Titan. For $150, you're getting a lot of quality, but you're not paying $300. It's not Rogue. And please don't compare it to Kabuki. That's kind of a joke there. But the powder coating's fine. The welds are fine. Realize, of course, the powder coat is going to come off the sleeves, but everything comes off the sleeves anyway. It weighs in at about 45 to 48 pounds, depending where you're looking on Titan's site. And when I weighed mine's actually pretty close to 46. And they do note on their website it's not compatible with all competition level plates. Though, if you can afford competition level plates, I don't know if I'd be looking at this bar. And the weight capacity is listed at 1,918 pounds. No, I didn't screw that up. 1,918 pounds. I'm sure they did the math. As always, Titan's real value here is as a budget product. When you think about what you're getting shipped to your house for the price, it's a pretty good piece of equipment, which makes it my budget pick. And I should note, it's not actually perfectly balanced, so when you're sitting it normally, it does like to rotate a little bit. When we did our Titan trap bar review, we directly compared it to the Rogue TB2, and surprise, surprise, this Titan product is another direct copy of Rogue. So Rogue's bar is kind of like that classy girl you always wanted but could never quite get. And the Titan bar is kind of the last girl left at the end of the night. Now, you're not complaining you got it, but you're probably not calling your friends up bragging about it. So if we're looking at this bar, it makes sense to look at the Rogue MG24 since this is essentially a copy of it. Now, I'm not saying Rogue makes the best multi-grip out there, but the comparison makes sense. And before we get into those comparisons, I will say that all of Rogue's multi-grip bars need specialized collars called axle collars. So you're gonna have to calculate that $45 cost into all these bars I'm about to mention. And that's for the 1.9 inch diameter of the sleeves. And while that might not seem like much, you do have to purchase something a little smaller, a little tighter, to get that good grip. Now, Rogue has 3 options, so we'll start with the Rogue MG1. With 3 sets of parallel neutral grip handles and the frame angled in, it's a little over $350 shipped, which gives you more space to rack it, but you lose a set of handles, and it's also knurled. Now, from there, you can look at the MG2, which actually has 2 variations. There's the 24, which is what my Titan bar is a clone of, and it's nearly identical, though the grip spacing is slightly different. And if you have a narrower rack, which is a fun word to try to say on camera, there's the MG23. It gives you 3 sets of angled handles, and instead of having that wide square frame, you're gonna have the angled frame giving you more space to rack it. It weighs 39 pounds, and the handle spacing is slightly different between the two. Either bar is just under $340 shipped to your home. Though I will note that neither of those bars in the MG2 line, the 23 or the 24, have knurled handles. Now from there, you can go to the MG3, which is knurled and has 3 sets of straight handles and 1 closer angled set. And it's gonna run you about $360 to your door. And of course with Rogue, you're gonna get that classic American quality that made them such a big name in the gym and fitness community. Now all the bars I talk about are gonna be linked in the description so you can check them out there. And if you already own a bar like this, let me know in the comments which one you have. And if you don't, let me know if there's any you want me to cover in the future. Now for my alternative pick, I'm gonna cop out a little bit here. And that's because there's just so many companies offering slight variations or their versions of these bars. You've got Sorinex, Vulcan, Black Widow, American Barbell, and the list goes on. But the 2 things I would check is whether it has knurled handles and whether it needs specialty collars. But chances are there's somebody out there making the perfect bar for you based on your preference. She's out there, gentlemen. You just have to keep looking. I hope this video is helpful. I'll see you guys next week.